Welcome to a Sunday morning with the boys here at All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, and with me, as always, I have Shawn Slaght early in Moose Jaw. How are you, Shawn?
I'm barely awake, thanks, Gary.
I can see the sun just starting to rise over in
Yeah, it's a little early
it's
out
an
here.
early start for those guys over there. And over in Connecticut, I got Muffler Mike. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. It's been a great weekend, guys. Another busy one. Gee, and y'all thought that we were going to get a little slower when NLL stopped, right? I know I'm putting a lot of miles on the cars. You know, I was at the Gales Junior B game last night. I had to do the anthems, and what a game, man, against Akwesasne. The Gales came back with a couple of minutes left, scored two quick ones, and wound up with a 7-6 win. It was a great game, chippy game, but well played on both sides. So even the Junior B games are exciting over here. So it's been a time. You know, we've had a lot of things to go over. We got a lot of junior A, West and East. We've got WLA, MSL. We've got Ontario Series to look at, as well as the Premier Lacrosse League that had all four games already, Friday and Saturday. So stick with us. We have a lot to take care of. But just before we get rolling, as always, remember that all shows are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and also Twitch, and you can catch all the action on EOPsports.com. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons, and always share. Enjoy all of our affiliates. Lots of shows for lots of people. Everything from baseball, football for you football fanatics, wrestling, everything in there, and lacrosse. And we're back to 9 o'clock again next week, our regular time. If you've missed a show, no worries. You can grab all the podcasts on all the major podcasting companies, which include Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, and so much more. You can also catch the entire lineup on the YouTube page for Edge of Philly Sports at EOP Sports. Or if you're looking for our stuff in particular, please go to All Lacrosse All the Time YouTube. While you're there, please subscribe. And there is all kinds of stuff. Our entire library, interviews, press conferences, fights, everything, including a lot of retro games and more coming this week. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting EOPsports.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. While you're there, please subscribe to our weekly newsletter as well. Well, just a few things to add to everything. Remember that upcoming very quickly now, it's less than a month away, is the Rob McDougall Memorial. And that is at the Toronto Rock Athletic Center, July 6th. You have a Junior A game at 3 p.m. with the Oakville Buzz playing. I believe it's against the Burlington Blaze. I could be corrected on that, but I believe that's right. The Celebrity game at 6, which is a must-see if you're in the area. Always a lot of names from a lot of different sports playing in that game as well. And it's a who's who, both in the crowd and on the floor. So you'd like to get there. There's a silent auction that's going on there from 4 until 10. Excellent stuff. I've picked up a number of terrific things there. While you're there, you can also, there's a beer garden, live music, chat up with NLL players, chat up with their celebrities, media, and everything else that's there. Lots of people there. It's a great time. I believe it's $10. It's all it's going to cost you. And, of course, it's going to help kids reach their full potential. So a lot of minor lacrosse gaining funding from it. So please give it a thought, and it's well worth your time and your money. Fan Cup is coming up, and that is on the 20th of July over in Philadelphia. If you happen to be in the Philadelphia area, come on over and say hi to us. We'll be hungover while we're playing. Win or lose, we drink the booze. That's the motto. But it'll be a great time. I'm going to get together with the EOP guys. Hey, guys. I believe the night before. So it's going to be pretty cool just to kind of put faces to names and names to faces and places and all kinds of things. Might even go and check out, our first ad of the day. Might be over to Dolan's. And while we're talking about that, why don't we take a break for Dolan's?
When you're staying local and you want to watch a great game or just hang out with some great people, go to Dolan's Bar at 24 East Sellers Ave in Ridley Park, right off I-95 south of the Philadelphia airport. For over 65 years, Dolan's has thrived because of one reason: the amazing people of Philadelphia. Great music, great times, memorabilia, giveaways, great drinks, and great food. You never know when a former Philly sports icon walks through that door. You go to Dolan's at 24 East Sellers Ave, Ridley Park in the 19078. Tell PJ that EOP sent you. Go to dolansbar.com or follow them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok.
And Mike, you never know when Sumi Dog shows up too, right?
Hey.
Got
He's
sunglasses going in case
sunglasses.
incognito there, yeah.
Absolutely incognito. That's right.
Yeah.
Got his VIP seat in the corner.
Well, he had to pay a lot of money with the last lawsuit from. Never mind. Eduardo's with us. Hey guys, Eduardo.
That's VIP. Very important puppy.
Very important.
There, puppy. Yep.
Love it. Just continuing along here, I'd mentioned the Gales, but they have their picnic coming up also July 27th at Tyrone Community Center, which is 2716 Concession Road 7 in Tyrone. Face painting, jumping castles, Mike's favorite, treats, and much, much more, as well as seeing a lot of alumni and current Gales as well. Get ready for a family fun event. So it's absolutely, there was so much spirit at the game last night. It is just a great organization to be around. So if you have a chance to be at that picnic, please take them up on it. It is a lot of fun and really great people. And there's an awful lot of merch and things like that you can get your hands on. Lacrossing Barriers. Their summer day camps, fully inclusive, all abilities and all possibilities, day camps, designed to allow anybody who chooses to learn, laugh, and play. Camps will guide everyone who comes to participate the way they need. Ages 5 and up, 9 till 3, with options for early drop-off and late pickup. July 2nd to 5th, 6th to 9th, and August 26th to 30th. To register or to get information, email Scott at lacrossingbarriers.org, and he will get back to you with anything you need. This is in Alberta, but they are opening things up all over the place. I know they have things coming or going in Ontario right now, and I believe they're working in BC. They're looking at Manitoba as well as pushing it down through the states. So it's a fantastic program. Everybody should have the opportunity to play. It shouldn't just be to those of us who are lucky, God gifted enough to have all of our faculties. So these guys are great. They have great attitudes, great spirit, and some of them are just spectacular. So, and really great attitudes. So you want to give this thing, or you can get a hold of Scott and see how you can support Lacrossing Barriers, because they are all over the place and they will not turn down anything. So please, if you have extra stuff or you have extra time or extra cash, please get in touch with Scott. Again, Scott at lacrossingbarriers.org, and they will be more than happy to chat and assist you. Well, if you had a few moves, NLL. Sean Williams is getting on that train right early. We've already addressed goaltending there. And, this week he addressed both transition and offense. And, first one is Shane Simpson is on his way over to Vegas. And in return, the Roughnecks get Griffin Hall, a 14th overall pick, 2024 entry draft, and a 6th round pick, 2025 entry draft. This one's interesting, eh? I didn't expect to see Simpson on the move. How about you guys? Mike, I'll start with you.
No, I certainly didn't. But they've been sort of trying to anyway thrive on transition, and I would look at this as almost maybe a replacement for John Wagner, for having lost John Wagner. So.
Right.
And
interesting thing is that Calgary's has been based on transition. And I think Simpson probably is the best transition guy in the league. And they're looking to the future and they got a bunch of picks for him. But boy, that's a big blow from their offense, really. And the how many times do we talk about Del Bianco to Simpson over the last couple of years?
Yeah. True.
So,
that's exactly I was going to say that's exactly my thoughts, Gary, is that Calgary team lives and dies by the transition game. And between Shane Simpson and Zach Currier, that was a huge chunk of their offense.
Yeah.
Huge chunk. And now they're losing basically half of that. So it could be interesting. He said Sean Williams is not fooling around right now.
And I'm curious to see what Calgary's going to do to replace. Either they're going to start moving towards getting more offense as opposed to transition, or they're going to have to look to try and bolster transition. I think they're going to go to offense. I'm curious. I don't see enough in that draft that would warrant this.
No.
So it's a head scratcher in that regard. But obviously, Josh Sanderson and Cordingley and Phil all have ideas on what to do and how to do it. And because otherwise, it just, to me, it really is wow. It's one of those moments way before the time. And for it to happen now, here in June, where we wouldn't expect to see something like that until, days before the draft, or something crazy is coming up free agency.
Well, I think that's another great point too. I mean, if you're Calgary, especially for a player like Shane, you probably could have waited out to see whether you could get more value out of him. I mean, not to say they didn't get value out of him, but maybe they could get a higher pick and something like that from another team.
Well, yeah, when you look at the numbers and you're talking about probably the best transition guy in the league, I think they might have got underbidden there for some.
Yeah.
So kudos to Sean Williams for being able to swap and swoop that. But wow, they have a whole different look. Eduardo is coming to you from St. Augustine today. But I'm sure before the show's over, he'll be in his car somewhere. He is always on the move, almost as much as me. Now, we didn't stop there, though, because Kyle Killen is now a desert dog as well. And Sean Williams doing his best Jamie Dawick and trying to get rid of all the picks so he doesn't have to worry about doing any draft stuff this year. 2025 second-round pick and 2027 conditional third-round pick. I'm curious, Mike, if Vegas has any picks in the first couple of rounds left.
Not sure.
I'm going to bet on not many, if any.
Yeah, I mean, if they just got rid of the 14th pick, so nothing in the first round.
Toronto has their first round pick this time around.
So yeah, yep. So, yeah, definitely interesting. I mean,
so Sean Williams be able to take that weekend off.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the counterpoint is, is there anything really necessarily wrong with that strategy? I mean,
no,
other than down the line if it turns out your moves didn't work.
Well, say Dawick's been doing it for years, right? He goes with free agency and goes with trading for established players, and the Rock have been up until the semis, a great team, and then the semis roll around and Buffalo rolls in, and well, we all know how that story has been going for the last 10 years, but it's been what it is. But for during the year, it's very well worked out.
Yeah. I think you kind of have to look at the draft class too. Like you mentioned, it's not overly deep draft. There's not a ton of names that really jump out at you. Maybe this is the time to kind of build up through those picks.
Right. Very possible. Especially looking at the caliber of players he's getting. Kyle Killen and Shane Simpson both ace. And when you got Getty in your nets, at least you have a bona fide backup, if not a starter when needed. And the other point of it also is he's experienced. So they're getting more and more experience, which will help Rob Hellier out. Because, when he's doing 80% of your offense, it gets a little bit tiresome. And remember, they don't have Reed Reinhold anymore either, right? He's actually sitting with the Rock now. So we'll see how that all plays. One more trade to talk about, and that is Nathan Grennan's on the move again, and he's headed over to the Black Bears. And the Firewolves receive a 2027 second-round pick. Thoughts on this one, guys? Mike, let's start with you.
It's definitely interesting. I think we kind of thought that their left side was pretty much solidified with obviously Jeff Teat and Riley O'Connor, Larson Sundown. But that's more grit that they add. You know, a guy who's not afraid to go in the middle. I mean, you saw him get quite beat up, you know, in the finals against Buffalo because
Right.
he was doing a lot of the dirty work inside. So taking a lot of punishment to allow Albany, you know, space and, you know, room to be able to create shots and stay relatively close in both of those games.
Right. Yeah, I think it's interesting too. Well, for Grennan, it's great because it's a short jaunt to Ottawa.
Yep.
It's actually a less of a drive from here to Ottawa than it is to Albany. Trust me, I've done them both. And no tolls. That's a big one there, guys. But we have one more thing to talk about, and it's not NLL, it's MSL. And the Peterborough Lakers jumped in this week with a little bit more to bolster themselves and pay dividends right away when we get to the games there. Joey Capito is the big name in this one, and he is signed as a free agent with the Peterborough Lakers, as well as Taylor Jensen. Capito's healthy, and I'm amazed that Six Nations didn't re-sign him, or with all the players they have, I don't know if they had a place for him. But while he was hurt, he was an assistant coach on the Six Nations bench. So it's interesting that now he's on over to the mortal enemy of Six Nations, on over to Peterborough. Mind you, he's from that area, so it's a lot easier for him because remember he played for years in Coburg. So one more kick at it, I guess. So it's becoming a more interesting squad and starting to get that veteran-like look again in Peterborough. So, well, it's interesting. Interesting. It brings a whole new aspect to the Lakers again. Their transition game has just stepped up.
Definitely. And they haven't played each other yet this year, have they?
No. Peterborough's game this week was against Brampton. So, and Oakville. That was an interesting game. We'll get to that too. But very, very strange week, MSL too.
And they're just with all the new teams, they're just playing each other twice, right? Each team plays each other team twice this year.
That's right. And then before you know it, we have longer playoff series, which is interesting. Curious to see how that all works. But in the long run, it goes just as long, just with less games. But I know I'm busy every day of the week, so plenty of games. Plenty of games. And if you go onto the Major Series Lacrosse YouTube page, it may be a day late and $1 short, but you will be able to watch any and all of the games there. So I believe the Brampton Peterborough game from Thursday is up now. By day's end today, most likely you will have the Brampton Owen Sound game from last night up. So it was a pretty hot game. We'll get into that in a few minutes. Just before we get into juniors, I just want to remind everybody this part of the show is brought to you by Sherry's Tickets.
Great moments don't just happen, they happen with you in the crowd. Sherry'sTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less, play more with Sherry'sTickets.com and get the tickets you want. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10 and share an experience that will live on. Don't pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard-to-come-by tickets to the big game? If you need a more personal touch, give them a call at 610-494-5050. Sherry'sTickets.com also has great theater and concert tickets that are hard to get your hands on. Remember, don't overpay with the rest and save with the best at Sherry'sTickets.com. For that next great moment, save 10% by using the promo code EOP10. Great moments start at Sherry'sTickets.com.
Absolutely. And it's a good time to get them because you got the Phillies going on. Pretty soon you're going to be looking for your Eagles tickets. And, the Union are going as well. So our man Pat is on the scene with that stuff, with Union and, of course, Steel Steps. And Pat will be rejoining us again next week because, of course, the Water Dogs are the home team next week. And he will spend his weekend covering Water Dogs games and hitting the buffet. Always buffet. But it brings us over to the junior A's. And Shawn will start out in the West.
All right, we'll start out with BC Junior A. Go to Tuesday. We saw New Westminster kind of near the bottom of the standings, but they defeated Port Coquitlam in a bit of an upset, 13-7. Wednesday, Coquitlam continues to kind of run over the league. They defeated Victoria 14-6. And also Wednesday night, Burnaby defeated New Westminster 13-10. Heading into Thursday, Delta had defeated Langley. Kind of two teams that are trying to stay out of the basement there. That was a 16-6 score. Friday, Coquitlam again defeated New Westminster 16-7. Saturday was a busy day. So yesterday, Nanaimo was over Langley 16-8. Coquitlam again with another win defeated Victoria 12-7. And then the thriller, Port Coquitlam defeated Delta 12-10. Winning goal was scored on the power play with 39 seconds left in the game, and then an empty netter to end that one. And then today we have one game tonight. Nanaimo against Burnaby. Could be a big one because those guys are kind of battling for second, third, fourth. As we look to the standings, Coquitlam's at 8-1. Then, like I said, there's a bit of a log jam at for that second, third, and fourth spot. Nanaimo's at 6-2. Port Coquitlam's at 6-3. Burnaby's at 5-3. Then lower down, you got Victoria at 4-6. New Westminster at 3-6. Delta at 2-4. And Langley at 0-9. Then heading over to Alberta in the Rocky Mountain League. Only really one game I can report on here. Yesterday, the Edmonton Miners took down the Okotoks Raiders 10-7. And then tonight, those two teams go at it again, kind of in a two-game series this weekend. So coming up in Alberta, Wednesday, you'll have the Calgary Mounties against the Okotoks Raiders. Saturday, the Raiders will take on the Miners, and the Mounties will take on the SWAT. And then Sunday, the Raiders will take on the Saskatchewan SWAT, and the Mounties will take on the Miners. So the standings in Alberta, Miners are kind of taking a bit of a stranglehold. They're at 7-1. The Calgary Mounties are at 5-3. Then you have the Okotoks Raiders at 3-3, and then the Saskatchewan SWAT still looking for their first win at 0-8.
It's interesting out there, man. The Raiders always, eh?
Yeah.
Just a powerhouse out there. But everybody's starting to pick up too. So it's great to see that, and great to see the lacrosse really, really hitting a fevered pitch. So excellent. So we head on over to Ontario in the OJLL and Toronto. They've been lighting it up all year. Toronto Mimico. They're just the 1-2 punch. I think they're both undefeated right now. I think by the time we get through this, Toronto will be 7-0. Just wild. They played Six Nations last Monday, and the Beaches really had their way with them. 9-3 over the Six Nation Arrows. It's a Nanaco shirt, by the way. So, but still on Monday, the Brampton Excelsiors faced the Peterborough Lakers. And Peterborough has been a bit of a rebuild lately. Their junior A team. Brampton beat them 10-7 over in Peterborough. Really a great game. Great game, right down to the wire. Two really up-and-coming squads. Whitby against Oakville. Whitby hosted Oakville in this one on Tuesday. Came away with an 11-9 win. They're starting to gain some steam now. They're starting to get their legs underneath them. Another big one was Orangeville playing Peterborough. And it was a 14-10 win for Orangeville. So they're starting to move on upward as well after a little bit of a slow start. Oakville, again, played on Wednesday, and they faced the Kitchener-Waterloo squad. And it was 12-5 for the Oakville Buzz. And, of note, Will Sheehan. He's having a great summer. He had 3 or 4 in this game. And it's just been lighting it up for Oakville. Burlington and the Beaches played in just an absolute slobber knocker. The Beaches came out with a 10-9 win. But no, Burlington is starting to play really strong, giving Toronto all they could handle. If it wasn't for a big second in which the Beaches held the Blaze scoreless, this could have been a whole different result. Mimico and St. Catharines. Mimico came away with an 11-10 victory. Now, St. Catharines, we've been talking about them. They're hosting, so they're going to have a spot in the Minto. But they haven't had all that great a season. Well, they're starting to play a lot better. Now, if you're going to take an undefeated Mimico squad right to the wire, 11-10, you're obviously starting to gel as a team. So that's really good news to see. So again, there are no blowouts in any of these games really. Beaches beat Brampton on Thursday. It was 12-7, and Peterborough and Six Nations got together in Six Nations, and Peterborough came away with an 8-7 victory. Again, another tight game, right down to the wire. These things. Kitchener got one over St. Catharines on Friday, and it was 10-7, and Whitby beat Brampton 10-7 as well. Yesterday, you had Mimico and Oakville playing each other, and Mimico came away with a 7-6 overtime win. So again, it is just absolute phenomenal lacrosse. These are guys you're going to be seeing in the NLL, if not next year, in the next couple of years. So if you're anywhere in the vicinity, you're going to want to make sure that you're jumping out to some of these games. Today we've got Kitchener against Burlington over at 5 o'clock in Burlington. The Beaches are playing Orangeville in Orangeville at 9 o'clock. St. Catharines is going to Six Nations for a 7 o'clock game. And Peterborough is playing Mimico for a 7 o'clock game. A busy Sunday in OJLL. Monday, we got Kitchener against Peterborough in Peterborough. Tuesday, Mimico is going over to Whitby, and Six Nations is heading over to Brampton. On Wednesday, you have Whitby against St. Catharines, Orangeville against Six Nations. The Toronto Beaches are playing Oakville. Circle that one. That one is the game you want to see. Peterborough is heading on over to Burlington. That's also going to be a big one. Thursday, you have Kitchener against Toronto. Friday, you got Mimico and Peterborough. Oakville against Orangeville. Kitchener against Brampton. And on Saturday, Burlington against Mimico and Six Nations against St. Catharines. So a busy, busy week. Every day something going on in OJLL. And if we look at the standings, let's bring it up here because, there you go. The Beaches are 7-0. Mimico are 6-0. Orangeville is coming up at 4-2. Whitby is coming up at 4-3. Brampton is 500 now, 4-4. The Oakville Buzz is coming up, 3-4. Six Nations at 3-5. Kitchener Waterloo at 3-4. Burlington at 2-5. Peterborough at 1-4. St. Catharines at 1-7. But that 1-7, St. Catharines is starting to look a lot better. We have no undefeated teams or winless teams in this league. Not bad. Not bad at all. Alrighty, let's move on over. We have a couple of games to talk about with Ontario series. We had a big one over with Brooklyn on Friday. Brooklyn played Ennismore, and Ennismore played them pretty tough in the first. It was 6-3 after one, and then just the absolute strength of the Brooklyn Merchant team took over, and the savvy. 17-8 was your final. Big game from Christian Watts. Big game from Eddie Renault. Also Devin Pfeiffer. All the main scorers were there. Darren Elliott also had a great game as well. Brooklyn is deep. Very, very deep. They're 7-1 now. And the only one that's close with them is Six Nations, who is 6-1, pending a score coming in from last night's game, which hasn't popped up yet. Hamilton and Owen Sound played last night also, and Hamilton won 9-4. It was a good first period. Again, Hamilton just was consistent. 3 in the first, 3 in the second, 3 in the third. Owen Sound fell off in the from the second into the third. A couple of goal run pushed this game out of reach for them, and that was all she wrote. But each time out, Owen Sound is looking that much stronger in both major series and in Senior B. So looking for some big stuff there. Upcoming is today they have Six Nations at Ennismore at 5 o'clock. If you happen to be in the Ennismore area, the Peterborough area. Clearview is playing Owen Sound at 5 o'clock. If you happen to be in the Owen Sound area. Next weekend, you have Hamilton and Ennismore in Ennismore. And you have Brooklyn facing Clearview. So that'll be another interesting one. Clearview and Brooklyn, the last time they met, I was at the game last Friday, and Clearview was leading all game long until 34 seconds left when Brooklyn scored their winning goal, their only lead of the night. Just an absolute fantastic game. And, of course, a friend of the show being the coach at Clearview, Ryan McMichael. So, chance to see him again over in the Meaford area if you guys are interested. And that takes care of Ontario Series Lacrosse. Why don't we to take a break for a second? We'll come back with WLA. This part of the show brought to you by Philly Sports Trips.
If you're a Philly sports fan and you want to travel with your favorite team, then travel with the best. If you want to travel with the pros, then go to phillysportstrips.com. Philly Sports Trips features premium travel and tailgating experiences for the best fans ever, the Philadelphia sports fan. Philly Sports Trips has self-travel packages and full travel packages available with round-trip flights for Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, and even the Union. They even offer day trips for more local games. Go to phillysportstrips.com, sign up immediately, and tell them EOP sent you. Do not forget, Philly Sports Trips has all the away trips for the Eagles' upcoming 2024 season, including the Brazil trip week 1. Jump on it now before you lose out on all these great opportunities. Go to phillysportstrips.com and don't miss the next great Philly sports moment.
That's it. Philly Sports Trips. There's some great trips on there. And again, you've got Philly road trips, Union road trips as well. Eagles stuff coming up. All kinds of things out there. So give them a call and get on their website. There's some terrific packages going on. And it's not just the game. It's the whole experience, the tailgating, everything, as well as traveling with people that are in the same interests as you. So who knows? Make a whole lot of friends in these things too. All righty. Why don't we get over to the Western Lacrosse Association? And we have to pick up from last Sunday night, which was just starting as we were ending. And we had the Burrards and the Thunder. And, well, take her away, boys.
Yeah, so two winless teams at the time meeting. They certainly both looked different in their losses, though. Langley was getting soundly defeated in all their previous matchups, while Maple Ridge, suffered a couple of 6-5 defeats, to some of the heavyweights of the league. But Maple Ridge gives Langley the same treatment they've been subject to, 16-9 for their first win this season. Ryan Jones, 2 goals, 7 assists. Dylan McIntosh, 3 and 5. Reese Porteous had 5 goals and 2 assists. Marcus Claridge, 2 and 5. Their goalies combined for 39 saves on the night. For Langley, you had Tristan Kirkham with a pair of goals. Nathan Lamb and Kyle Brunch with 1 and 3 each. And Langley's goalies combined to make 33 saves on the night.
All righty. Let's move on over to my Shamrocks. Still undefeated, guys. It's a good time to be here, There's a lot of undefeated over here. After last year's, my God, it's winless. So I'm living the dream for now. For now. I know that somebody will bring this recording back up going, hey, they lost 4 in a row. Where's your jersey now? Yeah. I'm going to live it for all it's worth now. I'm going to wring every drop of this. Anyway, Shamrocks win 10-9. Take her away.
Yeah, and they barely held on too. I mean,
Win's a win.
Shamrocks were ahead 9-8, and then Lucas Olson tied up the game for Nanaimo on the power play at the 14:03 mark. And then Arthur Miller scored the game winner with 36 seconds left in the game for the game winner. So for the Shamrocks, again, the King brothers just keep doing what they're doing, right? Marshall King had a goal and 2 assists. Jesse King had 3 assists, and Arthur Miller, along with that game winner, had another goal for 2 goals. Chris O'Reilly got the start, made 32 saves on 41 shots. For the Timbermen, again, Zach Mans is kind of where he left off last year. 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points. John Phillips, a pair of goals and 3 assists. And Colton Lindstone with 3 assists. And both Colby Bowman and Devlin Shanahan kind of split the time in goal between the two. 36 saves off of 46 shots.
Yeah, this wasn't a stellar start for the Shamrocks. They were down 4-1 midway through the first, and they had to kind of slap themselves in the face and wake up. And wake up they did. Tom Vesson and Patrick Dodds, of course the Kings. But it's I guess when you're rolling, things kind of tend to trend towards you, and when you're not doing so great, they tend to trend far away from you. So, case in point in this particular game. But hey, win's a win. That's all I got to say.
Yep.
Win's a win. We move on over to Wednesday, and the Barrars and Thunder playing each other. Another close game.
Yeah, rematch, and Langley exacts a little bit of revenge, getting their first win of the season, 10-8 over Maple Ridge. Difference maker was second period, in which Langley outscored Maple Ridge 6-3. For the Thunder, Robert Church, 2 goals and 3 assists. Chase Scanlon had a hat trick. Charles Scanlon had 5 assists. Cal Slade and Tristan Kirkham each with 2 goals. Aiden Walsh, definitely a better outing, 42 saves on the night. For Maple Ridge, Dylan McIntosh 2 and 3. Ryan Jones had a hat trick and an assist. Drew Andre and Marcus Clarich each with a goal and an assist. And Brandon Humphrey 34 saves in the losing effort. So both teams with 1 win, and they'll be meeting, I think, 2 weeks from now for the rower match of that
There you go.
So,
Alrighty, and we had the talk about a close game, man. We had the Salmon Bellies and the Adnaks, 13-12 for the Salmon Bellies. Over in third.
Yeah,
big game.
In a wild game. Yeah. Near the end of the second period, this is kind of where it kind of went a bit wild. The Bellies were up 9-4. And the Adnaks went on a 7-goal run. They had to take an 11-9 lead. So they had New West had a little bit of the battling back to do. Will Malcolm scored the 7:28 mark to give them the lead, to get them within 1. Then Lucas Pilcher scored at 11:38 of the third to tie it up. Clark Walter, who we'll get into, had a huge game for the Adnaks, put him back in the lead, but Ryan Martell happened. At the very end, he scored a shorthander to tie it up, and then with the minute 08 left on the power play, he scored the game winner. Brian Martell had 3 goals and 3 assists for the Salmon Bellies, as did Will Malcolm. Jake Govett, although he didn't score, 5 assists, as well as Austin Ducommon had the hat trick. And Ashton Leclerc got the win for the Salmon Bellies, stopping 27 of 39 shots. But over to the Adnaks, Clark Walter with the sock trick, 6 goals and an assist in the losing effort. he was unstoppable. Tyler Kirkby with 4 assists. You got a pair of goals from Ryan Isaacs, Jack Charbonneau with a pair of goals, and Andrew Gallant. We talked about this when Christian Del Bianco was with the team. He faced a lot of rubber, 54 shots, stopped 41, really kept the Adanacs in that game.
Right. All right, we get ourselves on over, and we have the Shamrocks and playing the Lakers, and a pitcher's duel in this one.
Yeah, it kind of went back and forth quite a bit. Really, it came down to that kind of third quarter where, third period, when the Shamrocks outscored the Lakers 3-1. A big game by Matthew Gauthier. Nice to see another name that's not a king, but I mean, it's hard with this Shamrocks team. It's really up and down, a really, really tough lineup. And kudos to, I can't believe I'm about to say this, Alex Bouquet in goal for Burnaby. He faced 55 shots, made 48 saves to kind of keep him in this game where a low scoring affair. But yeah, again, let me just pop up some of the stats here.
The game was
And
over
4
quick.
assists by Marshall. Sorry, Gary?
Game was over quick. It was only about an hour and a half.
Yeah, I mean, low scoring affair, and we've had quite a few of these kind of low scoring affairs lately in WLA. But 4 assists by Marshall King, a goal and 3 assists for Jesse King. Gauthier with a hat trick. Tom Vason with a pair of goals. Regularity got the start again. 42 saves. With the Lakers, Connor Watson with a pair of goals. Goal and 2 assists by Ben McDonald. Laszlo Henning had a goal and an assist. And a couple of assists as well by Thomas Vela. And I could mention Thomas Bouquet took the loss in goal for the Lakers.
1,900 people there too. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
No.
Gotta love that, man. I'm looking forward to seeing Peterborough this week, their home opener, and seeing 4,000 people at Memorial Center. That's always fun.
Yep.
But anyways, moving further along, yesterday we had the Adanacs and the Timbermen facing one another.
Yeah, another great game, and man, this just goes to show there's some parity probably this year in the WLA, with the Adanacs taking a 10-9 win over Nanaimo, which is interesting. So you would think Nanaimo, especially these last few years, the way they've been playing, would be kind of up there, but they've been struggling a little bit to find their footing. The Adanacs actually in the third period were up 10-6, and Nanaimo kind of tried to get a bit of a late comeback. Taylor Clark scored on the power play at 6:57, and then a couple of extra attacker goals kind of in the last minute by John Phillips and Lucas Olson, but it was just they couldn't find that equalizer. And really a huge game by Adam Noakes. Scored the game winner. He also had 4 goals on the night. Matthew Delmonico had a goal and 3 assists. Tyler Kirkby also a goal and 3 assists. Again, Andrew Glantz has been playing outstanding for the Adanacs lately. 39 saves and 48 shots. Timberman, again, Zach Mans led them with the hat trick and 3 assists. Taylor Clark even continues his great play as well with a goal and 4 assists. Excuse me. And interesting, they split time with Devlin Shanahan. Played 20 minutes and 29 seconds. Had 8 saves on 11 shots. And Justin Getty saw the remaining time, 25 saves on 32 shots.
Right. If we look at the standings just before we get at the upcoming games, you'll see that the Shamrocks are 5-0. I'll just stop there.
We're giving you a sec to let it sink in.
Yeah, let's think it.
Sam and Billy's the 3-0.
Some of those are Undertale.
I like the goal differential too while we're at it, 46 to 33. I don't like the penalty minutes. They're a pretty penalized team, second in the league. So, we'll get there. Say Sam Billy's are 3-0. Lakers are 3-2. Adanacs are 2-4. Berrards 1-3. Timbermen 1-3, and the Langley Thunder are 1-4. Upcoming, we have tonight the Bellies, the Berrards. We have Wednesday the Adanacs facing the Thunder in Langley. The Berrards head on over to Victoria on Friday, as the Bellies head on over to face the Lakers as well. And Saturday you have the Adanacs versus the Timbermen. Busy week again. So, alrighty. In major series lacrosse, we didn't have quite as busy a week, but a few games going on up so far. And we start out Monday, and that was over at the Toronto Rock Athletic Center. And the Peterborough Lakers faced the Oakville Rock. Interesting game. Peterborough jumped out to a 3-1 lead halfway through the first, but goals by Josh Dawick and Ryan Lansbury tied that thing up at 3. Withers, off a Schul pass, made it 4-3. Jack Follows tied it up, and we were 4-4 after 1. Peterborough took over in the second. Colton Marquis had a shorthanded goal, which set the tone for the period. They scored 4 goals, and Oakville had no answers. So at the end of 2, it was 8-4 Peterborough, and looking a lot like what has been in the past. Withers scores unassisted off a faceoff 5 seconds into the third, and it's 9-4. Well, once again, cue the comeback. And Andrew Q, Mike McCannell, Callum Jones, Ryan Lansbury, and Ty English all score in the span of 5 minutes, and it is 9-9. Thomas Hogarth gets one for Peterborough to stop the Oakville run, but it doesn't faze Oakville at all. Mike McCannell, Ty English, Jack Follow, Callum Jones all put together goals. Callum Jones with 1 second left in the game, and Oakville pulls a stunner, 13-10 over the Peterborough Lakers in their season opener for either squad. Big games, guys. Big game. And, over a track, exciting game. And looking at the Rock, the big one there, Ty English, 2 goals and assist. Jack Follows, 2 goals. Mike McCannell, 2 goals. And then Ryan Lansbury, 2 goals and 4 assists. Really the only household name of the bunch who did big things. On the Peterborough squad, Thomas Hogarth had a hat trick. Jake Withers had a pair of goals. And then singles from Colton Marquis, Owen Hiltz, Dylan Hutchison, Tate Katoni had a goal, and Joe Resiteritz had a goal. Rob Hillier played in this game as well. So, it's not like Peterborough didn't bring their A lineup. Just shows you that Oakville had Troy Holochuk in net, not Nick Rose. So, interesting. Sign of things to come. Could very well be. We move on over to Wednesday, and the Six Nation Chiefs and the Brooklyn squad locked up. And again, another close one out of the first. Brooklyn was actually ahead 4-3 after 1. Six Nations pulled it in another gear in the second and third, outscoring them 10-4 in those periods for the 13-8 victory. Looking at the score, of course, you had Dane Smith joining the Six Nation Chiefs to make them even stronger. You look up and down the lineup, and really, is there a weak spot in this lineup? Well, Dane Smith, Lyle Thompson, Ruckin Thompson, Brendan Bombury, Liam LeClaire, Justin Martin, Tyler Biles, Shane Jackson, Austin Stotts, Kyle Rubish, Kellen LeClaire, Brian Cole, Larson Sundown, Jeremy Thompson, Steve Priolo, Randy Stotts, Travis Longbow, Tyson Bell, with Warren Hill and Doug Jamieson as your goalies. That is an all-star lineup, yo.
That's a who's who of.
It's an all NLL lineup.
Yeah, no kidding.
It is. It's an entire. But
There isn't
I look at
there isn't a single person you named on that roster who isn't playing in the NLL.
right, and then I look at the Brooklyn squad. It's Austin Shanks, Matt Hossick, Dylan Robinson, Luke Keenan, Tanner Cook, Ryan Wagner, Keenan Cook, Liam Osborne, Kyle Waters, Colton Watkinson, Zach Belter, Graydon Hogg, Sean Wesley, Brock Haley, Nick Tchaikovsky, Connor Kiernan, Brady Kiernan, Curtis Knight, and Riley Hutchcraft and Zach Higgins doing the goaltending. Really, one or two that are not in the NLL. It's an all-star cast as well.
Yeah. And the one or two you named are probably about to be in the NLL.
Well on their way to NLL.
On the way, yeah.
And holding their own at that. Yeah. Luke Keenan's looked great in his couple of games. Brock Haley's looked good. Graydon Hogg has been on the score sheet every single game that he's played. So, yeah. So, definitely, this is another big squad going on. Thursday, the Lakers went on over to Brampton, and a little more Laker-esque. It was 3-3 after the first period, though. And I know I had a Spockian eyebrow watching the game. And it was interesting because, JP Ward got Brampton on the board first, a couple of minutes into the game. Then Tate Katoni and Dylan Hutchison was 2-1 for Peterborough. James Whiteford, and you'll hear his name a lot. JP Ward again. And again, Brampton's ahead. Resetarit scores with a couple of minutes left, and it's 3-3 after one, like I'd mentioned. Enter the second period. Well, the Lakers, just like the Oakville game, put together a 6-goal run, which changed the entire outcome of this game. Resetaritz with a couple in this one. He sandwiched a Holden Gatoni goal. His second one, of course, shorthanded. Austin Hazen, Katoni again, and Taylor Jensen. And we just talked about him as a free agent signing. There you go. And it was 9-3 all of a sudden, and the entire complexion of the game had changed. Penn Eistrat and Holden Patterson tried to get Brampton back in the game, making it 9-5. But Resetaritz with another goal. Mitch Ogilvie joined off a Joey Campito pass in transition. There's that signing coming into fruition. And, of course, by now it's out of reach. Whiteford's got another goal for Brampton, making it their 6th of the night. And Rob Hellier joined the score sheet. And that was your final, 12-6. Doug Buckham had a great night in net for Peterborough. But, Peterborough started looking like Peterborough old against Brampton. And 12-6 is your final. Brampton played again last night. And this was another slobber knocker of a game against Owen Sound. And once again, Owen Sound jumped out to a 4-1 lead in the first. And it was 4-0 actually, with Tyler Brown, Will Cecil, and a couple from Jackson Reed. Jeremy Searle got Brampton on the board with just 2 minutes left in the first. And it was 4-1 after one. Brampton had a big second period. They scored 5 and only yielded 1. So they actually went to the dressing room towards the third, up 6-5. Goal scorers were Jordan Medeiros. Adam Weedman had a couple in the period. Penn Eistrat and James Whiteford. Stephen Portelli got one for Owen Sound. Now 6-5 heading into the third. Whiteford got another goal, making it 7-5. Tyler Brown knocked it down to 7-6. Eistrat made it 8-6. Now all of a sudden, Owen Sound comes up with 3, and they take the lead. Peshko, Cam at Choni, and Matt at Choni both got goals, the brothers. And with a minute 10 left in the game, Josh Medeiros, comes through with 52 seconds left, just 27 seconds later, and 28 seconds later, and ties this thing up. Cue the dramatics. James Whiteford, off a Penn Eistrat pass for his third goal of the game, 3 minutes into overtime, and Brampton goes away your 10-9 victors. Not bad. Not bad. So Brampton gets their first win of the season. Looking at the standings, I just throw that up there for a second. And you'll see that the Six Nation Chiefs are still in the lead, 2 wins. Brooklyn is right behind them with 2 wins and 1 loss. Cobourg has a win. Oakville has a win. Peterborough was 1-1. Brampton now 1-2. And Owen Sound 0-4, but really starting to come into their own. They're starting to get goal scoring. So it's only a matter of time before they get themselves rolling. Looking to the upcoming games, today you have Brooklyn in Cobourg at 6 p.m. Tomorrow, Owen Sound faces the Oakville Rock at track. Tuesday, you have Cobourg heading over to Six Nations. Wednesday, you have Brampton heading on over to the Iroquois Park Center in Whitby to face Brooklyn. Thursday, Oakville comes over to Brampton. That'll be a big game. And also that night, Brooklyn is in Peterborough, a huge game. That's worth, and it's the home opener for the Lakers. So it should be a big crowd. It should be a big day in Peterborough. And on Sunday, Peterborough faces Cobourg at 6 p.m. So a big week upcoming in MSL action. And just before we head on over to the Premier Lacrosse League, a reminder, this part of the show is brought to you by Cherry Injury.
If you get hurt at work, in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or affected by criminal law, you call David R. Cherry of the Cherry Firm. Cherry Law Firm is here to fight for you and get what you deserve. Cherry Injury Law is a dedicated, well-established personal injury law firm built on the promise of aiding the seriously injured throughout the state of Pennsylvania. If you have been seriously injured in the state of PA by the negligence of another, and if you have questions for a Westchester or media personal injury attorney, please don't hesitate to call. Call 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your right. And again, that number is 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wouldn't have it any other way. Except for here in Canada where we don't have this, bro. No. We start off with our PLL pick'ems, guys. And, a lot of moaning and groaning after Friday's events. Wow. Our collective group showing how astute we were 1 for 10. Luckily, we had a good Saturday, and things changed. Mike and I were 2-2. Pat, 3-1. He was the 1 for 10. And Shawn and Eduardo 1-3. Looking at the year to date, I am 6-2. Shawn is 5-3. A logjam down there with Mike. Still 500, Mike. Way to go.
Yeah.
Oh. Pat 500. Eduardo at
It should be 3 and 5.
3
I
and
think.
5. It should be, yes. Yes. Yes, we didn't
Sorry,
talk last game yet. Well,
Hopefully he's on the road and didn't see that.
the stat guy, he's been a little tired lately. A lot of traveling. It was a late return after the Gales win last night, so a little bleary-eyed this morning. We'll get there though, slowly but surely. Anyways, PLL time, guys, and we had some great games. The Archers Outlaws did not disappoint. Hey, Mike? Just a mere 35 goals.
No. No, and extra time. Number 1 overall draft pick, Brennan O'Neill with the game winner in overtime, as the Outlaws upend the defending champion Archers. 18-17 is your final, and not without a lot of drama. Utah led 7-1 after 1 quarter. Denver came back in the second quarter and shut out the Archers 4-0 to make it 7-5 at the half. Then third quarter, pretty much a repeat of the first quarter, almost. The Archers outscoring the Outlaws 7-2 to take a 14-7 lead into the fourth quarter. And that's when things get crazy.
Yeah, what happened in the fourth? That's un-Archer like giving up 10 goals in the fourth.
Yeah, 10-3 in the fourth, and I would also note the Outlaws were without goalie Shawn Slaght for the game. He was one of 3 goalies who I believe did not play this weekend due to injury. He was actually the one who was listed as out. Blaze Reardon and Adam Gittleman were both listed as doubtful for their games. But O'Neill finishes the day with 9 points. So huge showing by the number
He
one
put the
draft
team on
pick.
his back, eh?
Yeah.
In this quarter.
He did, and actually, really a couple of rookies. Luke Weirman, the Outlaws face-off guy, 23 of 36 on draws, and that's against Mike Sisselberger, I might add. 11 ground balls and a point himself in the game. So, and then we were speaking about Scanoni. Owen McElroy in net for the Outlaws, 15 saves on the night for the win. His counterpart, Brett Dobson, made 13 saves in the losing effort.
And he wouldn't have anybody else score that goal other than O'Neill, the overtime goal, because it just makes sense since the game that he had already. But wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember the Archers ever having a collapse like that in any of their years. 10 goals in the third. That's unheard of.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Which is something for the rest of the league.
I'm not sure we've ever seen a PLL team put up double digits.
I don't recall.
I just
that
want to make sure that the rest of the PLL takes note that Denver has that kind of firepower.
Yes.
That they can put together a 10-goal quarter. Because that will put a number of teams at alert.
Definitely. So leading the way for Archers was Trey Leclerc. He had 5 goals on the night. So
right. Alrighty. So
and I believe those two teams will play each other again later in the season. So
the early game that day actually was Carolina and California in a 1-goal battle. Also 12-11 for Carolina, and again, not without drama.
Yeah, just a little bit. This was obviously this weekend they were in Charlotte, and it was Carolina Chaos's homecoming weekend. So they had 2 games. They kicked off the weekend with that win. This was actually Redwood's first game of the season. They had the bye last week on Atlas's homecoming, but they came back from a 5-2 deficit to lead 9-5, then watched that lead evaporate to 11-9 by the end of the third quarter, or by actually probably with about 14 minutes left in the game. And Carolina rallied to tie it up at the end of 3, and then a very odd goal in the fourth quarter by Ty Kurtz ended up being the only goal of the fourth quarter, and gave
which is another head scratcher with all the firepower that they had been displaying, and all of a sudden nobody can find the net
in the fourth. And again, Chaos were without goaltender Blaze Reardon. So but Austin Kaut came in, made 16 saves in the win. Obviously no slouch himself. He's one of only 8 goalies, I believe, who have 1,000 career professional saves. That's MLL and PLL.
Mm-hmm.
So your big scorers for Carolina, Jules Henningberg, 4 goals. Josh Byrne had 2 goals and 2 assists. Ty Kurtz, 2 goals, including the game winner, which looked like it was actually intended to be a pass inside and kind of flubbed its way off the ground and into the net. 2 goals and assists for Kurtz. Kyle Jackson, a pair of goals, including 1 behind the back and under the legs. I'm sorry, with his back to the net, under the legs. Ross Scott had a goal and an assist. For Redwoods, the usual, not some usual suspects. Rob Pinnell, 2 goals, 2 assists. Westberg had a hat trick. Charlie Bertrand, a goal and an assist. Ryder Garnsey was held to just 2 assists, but their third round draft pick, 18th overall, Garrett Degnan, 2 goals and a 2-point goal for 4 points on the night, and that 2-point goal was just really all of his goals were crazy.
Right.
All I can say is go to Redwoods, California Redwoods Twitter, for the 2-pointer and one of the 1-pointers, which they have a close up of that one particular 1-point goal where he's pretty much got a guy just on his hands. He takes one step back and it's enough room for him to just fire a laser that gets by the goaltender.
Right.
And it's just crazy to see that with just one step worth of room that he can produce. Any lacrosse player can produce a shot like that. So
amazing. Alrighty, we move on over to Saturday, and Chaos plays their second game of the weekend, and they face the Atlas and a battle of the undefeateds. And well, it wasn't an easy game, but Atlas come out. I'm going to live this for all it's worth.
Keep milking it.
I went through a rough one last year with both Victoria and Atlas, and I am going to live this up. By the way, Atlas now has more wins than all of last year. Knock on wood. But Xander Dixon, another big game, 4 goals in this game. Trevor Baptiste, 20 of 23 at the face-off X.
Jeez.
Yeah, that makes a big difference when you get that many extra possessions. Looking at some other stats, Jeff Teat, he only had a goal but 3 assists. And, he is by far the quarterback, and he draws so much attention that it just frees up everybody. It's good to see Schellenberger back in the lineup because we were a little concerned after he got hurt in that first game. Miles Jones, his resurgence of life, and with a goal and an assist. Dox Aitken with a couple of goals. He looks great, doesn't he?
Yeah.
The first 2 weeks of this year,
Yeah,
he's looking like Dox Aitken of old, and that's refreshing. And Dylan Malloy with a goal. For Chaos, Josh Byrne, 4 assists. They held him off the score sheet, which is huge. That's the big thing right there, because when he starts running wild, things happen for Chaos.
Yep.
He kind of forms a lot of chaos out there. Geddes, he had 2 goals. Perkovic with a goal. Ty Kurtz with 1. Scotty had 2. Hennenberg and Jackson with a goal each. But again, the story here again is Troutner. He, although he didn't have the week that he had the week before, he came up with the saves when he had to. He was only a 500 stat, actually 44.4 with 8 saves. But Count, is he making a play for being a starting goalie in this league? 13 saves in this game against a really potent Atlas lineup. So making the most of an opportunity with both games this weekend, I think.
Sure.
1 win, 1 loss. But again, this one here, he only gave up the 12 goals, right? That could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, and I mean, the league kind of put out an article sort of midweek on, hey, well, what should Chaos do if Reardon can't go? And they presented a couple options, but I kind of always felt that just going with Kaut was the best option in this case, rather than just going ahead, trying to sign someone, off the street, out of the player pool or whatever, or trying to trade for, someone else's third goalie who, looks like, because they mentioned like Drake Porter, trading for Drake Porter from Atlas, with the thought that, he's probably going to be the number 3 goalie on that team with their top draft pick, Entenmann, playing behind Troutner. So, I mean, I think Chaos made the right move. I mean, again, this is only. I mean, we talked about this last week. The new homecoming format where teams, PLL teams are playing double headers on the weekend for the first time ever. We talked about, well, how are they going to perform, how or not perform, or the whole, hey, you got to play twice in 2 days versus, hey, these guys are professionals, they can handle it. I think you kind of, for Chaos, they had to go with what they knew, and what they knew was they had a decent goaltender back up in Austin Kaut, who could, like you said, could potentially start.
Right.
So
now, if there is a troubling thing for Atlas this season so far, is that they get out to big leads, and again here they're out to a 5-0 lead, a couple of 2-point goals, Miles Jones and Tyler Carpenter, and then Xander Dixon with one. They're up 5-0, and they look to be sailing. But by the time we head to the third, and we are at 9-7, well, they seem to race out.
No, we're losing Gary.
But I'm back. It wouldn't be a week without this. But yeah, but as I'm saying, then they seem to find the legs, and they make it and get over that finish line with a victory. But eventually, they're going to hit that squad that's just.
Like
Denver,
an Outlaws.
Denver, 10-goal output. You run into that, and you're talking about, well, we had a 5-0 lead. That's the only concerning thing I have with the Atlas squad so far this year, is that they seem to go out and then run out of gas and then find themselves and go, just pace.
Yep.
Or wire to wire, make it 25-1 or whatever, but pace seems to be the thing. But we have one more game on the weekend, and it was Maryland and Boston, right?
Yes.
And Boston came away with a victory on this one. Whipsnakes are having trouble so far.
Yeah, 13-9. Whipsnakes had Brendan Krebs in net. So you have to wonder maybe if they're the competition is still open between him and Kyle Bernlohr for net minding duties this year. Top scorers for the Whipsnakes, Matt Rambo, 2 goals and an assist. Zed Williams had a pair of goals. TJ Malone with a pair of goals. Jackson Morrill, goal and an assist. Joe Nardella was 14 of 23 on face-offs with 13 ground balls. Again, Krebs made 14 saves in the loss. For Cannons, again, no Adam Gittleman in net. They went with Colin Kirst. He made 14 saves in the win. Marcus Holman, a hat trick and a 2-point goal for 5 points total. Asher Nolting, a goal and 6 assists. So, making plays. Ryan Drenner had a pair of goals and an assist. Same for Pat Kavanaugh. And Matt Campbell had 2 goals in the win.
This is the Cannon squad that I remember, not the one that played last week.
Yeah.
They just they're scary good is what they are, and when they get rolling, Nolting with 7 points, 6 assists. That's huge. That's huge because look at who he has to feed to, right? Between Kavanaugh, Drenner, and Holman alone, that's enough to make any defensive coach go gray. To know that's coming at you. But when they get this thing all together, and it certainly looks like they have, they put together a great ending to the game last week, though they didn't start out great. But this is a good squad, and it's going to be interesting to watch them over the weeks as the weeks come along. All right, let's take a look at upcoming. Well, we got it's in Philadelphia next week, guys, and
yes,
Our man on the scene will be at the buffet. I mean, he will be at the games. That will be there. And he will be getting us a lot of reports, I'm sure, as the days going through and as the days are going through. We start off at 12:30 on Saturday, and the Cannons are playing the Water Dogs. It's going to be an interesting one. That's going to be a good good water test for the Water Dogs.
Yes.
It's going to be a good litmus test for the Boston Cannons as well. That's
Yep.
going to be an excellent game. Circle that one on your calendar. Utah against Carolina, another slobber knocker of a game. That should be just a 25-24 game is what's going to happen there. Holy nightmare with all that firepower and a pissed off Archer squad. You move on over to Sunday, and the 12:30 game is the California Redwoods against the undefeated Atlas. And again, that's going to be a heck of a game. And this is what I'm telling you guys, is if Atlas has that gaff that they've been apt to have, California can take that and run with it. So be curious to see if they can get out to a big start and if they can keep staying power in this one. A few side notes to keep the game interesting as well. That is also your ABC game of the week next week. And the last game of the weekend would be the Maryland Whipsnakes against the Philly Water Dogs. And that is a 3 p.m. start. And another one where can Maryland right the ship? And can they take advantage of a Philly squad that is on the back end of a 2-game weekend? That's the questions that I have in that game. Because I think Maryland is they're a better team than what they're showing. And they just have had a tough start. Moments of brilliance, but a tough start. They dig themselves in too big a hole to dig themselves out of.
Yeah, they're going to need to. I mean, their season's only 10, 11 weeks long. So,
well, the thing is,
they may not be able to afford to go 0-3.
Right. Well, again, if they go 0-3, they have the Atlas next week, right? The week after.
Yeah.
That doesn't get any easier, does it?
Yeah.
That just snowballs. And then if you're 0-4, the season's half done. Just that quickly. And now you are clamoring to try and find a way to get into the playoffs.
Yep. That's
not a good feeling going week in, week out when you know that every move is under the microscope. So they really need a victory in this week. Hard to believe in week 3 that it's a must-win game, but it is when you're in this position. And when there's this much talent in the league, there really isn't a bad game, is there? Parity is something. All right, let's leave that there. I do want to remind everybody that we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are on Thread, we are on YouTube. Lots of information in all those sites, as well as on eopsports.com/lacrosse for all of our articles. Please give them all a look. YouTube, a lot more tools in there, a lot more retro games, a lot more other things that we can show in full that we really put on the Facebook or on Twitter or things like that. So you want to use the YouTube page as a tool as well. Facebook, please check with us 3, 4, 5 times a day because as you've seen recently, the news is always changing, all kinds of movement happening and much more to come. Free agency is just down the road slightly. You're talking about movement. You're talking about trades. You're talking about the draft upcoming and all the other things that are going on, NLL, as well as MSL and WLA and the signings that are happening as they all jockey for how they're going to try and get to the Mann Cup come September. That's not even to say all the news that are coming across now from World Lacrosse, talking about tickets are on sale and a few other things that are going on for their big box championships in September in Utica. So come back to us a couple of times a day, and we are always on top of everything, our finger on the pulse of the situation as always. And like I like to tell you, we are the Costco of lacrosse. We are your one-stop shop and have everything that you need to be up to date and informed. And it is our privilege, it is our pleasure, and more or less our duty. Make sure that you have all the information that we can possibly dig up for you. We're in the last words, guys. Shawn, I'll start with you this week.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking forward to the week coming up here. Things are really starting to heat up especially out west here with the Junior A and the WLA.
Excellent. Mike, last words?
I'm looking forward to seeing what Pat's going to eat on Sunday.
Yep.
Weekend.
That's what I was about to say.
I'm
Are we
looking
going
forward to
to
videos of
report
him.
on the food or
Yep.
the lacrosse?
I think we're going to get a 50-50 split, really.
Yeah.
There's always a good spread there in Philadelphia. It's not at the links, so it may not be, the NCAA type of buffet, but I'm pretty sure Pat has a nose for this kind of thing. He's already got it scouted out. Probably has 3 restaurants scouted out, and for who's getting the freebies along the way too. So I'm sure that he will get us up to date on anything that is near the stadium, as well as what's going on in the press box and what's going on the field as well. So that should be good.
Anyone in the Philly area, go check it out. I think it's at Villanova Stadium. So
Yes, it
2
is.
games this weekend. Well, 4 games total, but tickets are decently priced, and it's
a great way to spend time with your family and watching some great lacrosse.
So yes, support your new team. So this is the only, maybe the only time they're in town if they don't make the playoffs, but if they do and make it all the way to the finals, you'll see them again. So
yeah, and that one will be at the link.
Yep.
No, it was at Chester, isn't it?
Subaru Park, yeah.
Subaru Park, I believe.
Yeah,
Yep.
Subaru Park. All right. And me personally, the MSL week this week is going to get really interesting. There's some great games in there. The Oakville one, as well as the Brooklyn Peterborough game on Thursday. I'd like to cut myself in half and be at both games, tell you the truth. But it's going to be a heck of a week. Don't forget, there's still more games today. You have the MSL game at 6:00 in Cobourg. You've got another game or 2 in the OSL. So in Ontario, there's plenty to go check out, and lots of quality lacrosse. So I'll leave it at that, as well as, of course, PLL and all the excitement that's going on there. Tons. And the juniors are, absolutely lighting it up. And if you have any chance to get out to a Mimico game or a Toronto Beaches game, remember, both teams are undefeated. So there's going to be an exciting venues to be at. Anyways, I'll leave it at there for this week. We'll wrap it on up. For Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw and Muffler Mike over in Connecticut, I am Gary Groob in Toronto, wishing you the best of weeks. We always appreciate all your patronage, all your comments, and all your messaging throughout the week as well. Remember, it is also Indigenous Month still, so every day there is a new little clip to try and bridge the gap between Native and non-Native, to try and bridge the understanding of a culture and how lacrosse relates to everything. So please give it a look as well. And again, wear your orange, guys. Your orange. Until next week, have a great week, and we will see you at our regular time at 9 p.m. next Sunday night. Until then.